Hello and thanks for joining us. And you better hang on to your hats for this investigation because John Woodward is going to take you places few dare try. They're called rooftoppers by other names, and their idea of thrill seeking is to get as high and as close to the edge as anyone ever has, filming the entire time. Now they're in competition with themselves and with each other. But as you'll see, one mistake can be deadly. This is not for the faint-hearted.
This is extremely dangerous and completely illegal.
Just watch out for cameras.
Joseph McGuire is a Canadian thrill seeker. He's breaking into a building and climbing over 50 stories into the Vancouver sky. You're seeing video Joseph shot himself. He films every step of this reckless journey. Once he reaches the summit, the thrills don't stop there. The 22-year-old uses this rooftop as his urban playground, walking on a beam where one misstep or gust of wind could send him to his death. The final stunt, hanging from a crane over 178 meters in the air. And if you think what he's doing now is dangerous, watch what he does next.
Holy f***. Buddy, f***.
It's a very real possibility that you might die.
Yeah, there's been many close calls. Yeah, but I feel like, comfort, I feel like having the comfort with death, but also, healthy respect for it has kept me alive.
Joseph will take on any challenge. Crossing Vancouver's Second Narrows Bridge, not on the pavement above, but balancing on the girders below.
What's going through your mind when you decide to do that?
I was looking for a thrill.
Just to get the blood pumping?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. For the first half, I feel extremely scared. But once I reach that half or whatever, I start to feel this inner sense of peace.
How many buildings and cranes would you say you've gone up?
Well, rooftops, I'm sure I've done more than 100. Cranes, maybe 30, 40. Bridges, maybe 5 or 6, yeah.
Joseph is part of a new movement of urban explorers. They usually climb in groups. They call themselves rooftoppers, and they're making more videos and showing off their stunts all over the world. In cities like Hong Kong, Dubai, and Toronto. And they don't just climb buildings. Any urban structure will do, like this bridge outside of Victoria, BC. Back here in Vancouver, Tad is another rooftopper, and his playground is 43 stories up. The 20-year-old has come with W5 to one of his favorite places. We're on the top of Vancouver's tallest condo tower. We have permission to be here, but Tad often plays by his own rules. He's a thrill seeker, though he'll say it's not just about risking his life, it's about art. He takes pictures of the city from an angle rarely seen, then shares them on social media sites like Instagram and YouTube.
So I don't know about you, but I look over this, and I get sick when I look down there. What do you see?
I just see the beauty of the city and the architecture of the building, and I just find it amazing. It's just a different perspective.
And so this is nothing new for you. We're up at 40 floors.
No.
This is nothing new.
No.
Tell me what it is that brings you up here.
There's something very, atmospheric and amazing just about being on a roof. It's a little bit more than just the excitement.
Tad began climbing buildings as a teen in Wisconsin to get over a fear of heights. He scaled the highest crane in Madison and got caught. He was let off with only a warning and knew it was time to move on. Tad landed in Vancouver to pursue a course in photography, setting his sights on some of the highest structures in the city.
What is it about those pictures that grabs the audience?
I think it's just the audience can't really relate to it at all, so it's just so alienating.
Seeing the likes and comments is positive feedback from his online following. Secondhand adrenaline junkies pushing him to reach new heights. His latest climb, the Lions Gate Bridge, spanning the entrance to Vancouver's harbor. It stands over 53 stories above the water, with cars passing right below.
Take me through how you do it.
Well, you see the poles right there and there, the two middle beams. You throw a grappling hook up there, you climb up to that part, then usually chill out, maybe take a breather, because it's a lot of work. Then you go up, climb up the X, and go to the very top.
And once you're on the top, you balance as you walk on that?
Well, there's a fence around you, so you're pretty safe, but if you go up where the red light is, then yeah, it's a little more sketchy.
You say it's sketchy, what do you mean?
If it's a little too windy or you slip, there's no sort of safety, you're just dead. Yeah.
No safety net. You may land on the bridge deck.
Yeah, you splat on the bridge deck.
Jeffrey Yoon is another rooftopper with a love of photography, like Tad. He posts online, but this evening, Jeffrey is displaying photos at his very first art show to see the reaction in person.
I know for a fact when people first see my photos, it's more of the wow factor, like, whoa, that's crazy, like, how do you get there? Where is that?
Are you doing it for the feeling in the moment? Are you doing it because you know that if you get a really great photo out there, enough people are going to see it, you'll get feedback?
In the beginning, it was definitely way more about the adrenaline rush, the thrill, the daredevil kind of acts, but now it's more, I just enjoy doing it.
Jeffrey takes risks to get his shots, climbing cranes and breaking into construction sites like this one.
Usually those types of things I do at night, so a lot of the photos from cranes are taken at night just because you want to avoid security. And it's crazy, when you're up there, it's cold, it's wet sometimes, and it is a little bit dangerous, but it's a beautiful sight.
How high up are you?
It can range from anywhere from 30 to 40 to 50 stories.
And you don't worry you're going to fall?
I try not to think about that.
But falling is a real possibility. Just ask someone who works in these cranes for a living.
How do you feel when you see those videos?
Oh, just cringe, tense up. Like, it's just, yeah, you know what could happen, right? So it's crazy.
Kyle Dorion is a crane operator. He trains rigorously to protect himself and his crew.
They have no training or nothing like that, right? They don't know the ins and the outs, so they don't know what could happen to them, right? I guess. Obviously, you fall and there's nothing, right? You're dead. There's nothing in place, so yeah, you're dead.
And Joseph McGuire came close. In 2015, he snuck into the Fairmont Hotel Vancouver, recording his climb with a camera.
Well, I wanted to climb the diagonal green roof and reach the very peak of the hotel, which was like a chimney, kind of like dome.
That's a long way up.
Yeah. It was very steep too. Maybe like 70 degrees. At the end, the only option I had was to climb rubber cable from outside of the hotel.
That rubber cable was just an extension cord, the only thing Joseph could grab 17 stories up.
I started climbing the cable. And then it was going smoothly until I got halfway up. I was like, oh shit, I'm starting to get tired. It was really scary. There was pipe down there that I could have just like gotten impaled. I remember hanging on for my dear life at the end of the cable because I was about 30 feet above the ground, right? I remember thinking to myself, oh, I really f***ed up. This is gonna be really bad. I might even die.
Joseph was out of options.
And you landed pretty hard.
I did, yeah, on my back.
Must have hurt.
I don't remember that pain at that time, no.
You didn't know how badly hurt you were.
No.
When did you find out?
Yeah, I went home and went to sleep for about 3 hours. When I woke up, I couldn't move, right? I was just in so much pain.
Joseph had broken his shoulder and injured his spine. He was lucky to be alive.
He's okay.
I f***ing failed.
So you could have broken your back.
I could have, yeah.
Does that make you second guess your decision to go up onto these roofs?
Not really. I like to think of it as I have nothing to lose.
A treacherous vantage point
He was not a daredevil who had to go to extremes.
leads to a fatal misstep.
And to go in such a horrible, horrible way.
When W5 continues.
Reaching new heights, illegally climbing buildings, dangerously scaling cranes, and even crossing underneath bridges. It's called rooftopping or urban exploration. Some do it for the thrill, some for the art of photography, taking pictures and videos from over 50 stories in the air, seeking online fame on social media like Instagram and YouTube. But there is a cost.
Hey guys, thanks for coming.
In a small town of about 4,000 people in Minnesota, there's a memorial happening. It's a movie in a church
Come on in. How are you?
for a town that is too small for a theater.
Cookies today, too.
And thank you all for coming today, and let's watch the movie and enjoy yourselves.
It's how the Weemies are coping with their son's death by showing a movie, something their son was passionate about.
Nick was creative, very creative. I mean, he was, as a youngster in grade school, he always had the dream of being an entertainer, being in movies, directing movies.
It really came to fruition in high school. I mean, the whole time, his mind, he was always looking at how he could get the best shot of anything.
I made my own pet cemetery in my backyard.
Movies led to acting, which led Nick to the improv scene in Chicago. And a fascination with a camera drew him to take pictures from the city's tallest buildings. One night in 2012, he climbed to the top of Chicago's Intercontinental Hotel, making it to the building's chimney, more than 42 stories high.
Authorities say it appears he lost his footing and took a fatal fall into the towering smokestack.
It took the fire crews about 4 hours to extract Nick from the chimney after falling more than 23 feet.
We found the best way to get him out would go about 2 floors below, and eventually we ended up sliding the victim down into the hole and removing him from the building.
Take me back to that day. How did you guys get the news?
The worst way ever, on the phone. The hospital that called, it was 7:15 that morning, that asking me if I was the mother of Nicholas Andrew Weemy. So I was just sure it was a wrong number or something. It was misinformation.
I came walking through the front door, and she was standing here at the counter, and she just started crying. And
We hugged and literally fell to the floor because that is the worst news that you can ever imagine. I mean, you expect your parents to go before you, maybe your siblings, but not your child. We're supposed to outlive our children. And to go in such a horrible, horrible way. The pain, I can't describe.
Here's the phone.
In the evidence bag Nick's parents received after his death was his cell phone. No one outside Nick's family has seen what's on his phone since his death. With their permission, we turned it on. There were pictures of the Chicago skyline, taken from high above city streets.
Did you get a sense when he was in Chicago about the lengths he was going to get some of those shots?
No.
Not until we looked at his phone after he died. There's many, many, many shots of the Chicago skyline. Yeah.
Did you wonder how he got those shots?
Well, we know how he got them. He was there, either at the top of the buildings or something. And he was not a daredevil who had to go to extremes for a thrill. Being creative, you probably take a little bit more of a risk. I don't believe Nick knew that he was in danger when this thing took his life.
Back in Vancouver, Nick's death hasn't convinced Jeffrey Yoon he's in danger too.
Do you know about the people in Chicago, in New York, places like that have died doing this?
Yeah, it's very, very unfortunate, but at least they were doing something they love, right? I try to take as much precaution and I try to be as safe as possible every time I do something.
Have you heard people say you're reckless, you don't care about your own life, you're taking risks?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
What do you say to people like that?
I think they're right in their own sense, but at the same time, I want to get that shot and I want to see the city from a certain angle, and no one's going to stop me.
What if it was the police trying to stop you?
I'm still going up until I'm in cuffs.
Other rooftoppers feel the same way, flaunting the laws and putting their antics online.
You know, you look at videos like this, makes you shake your head.
We showed some of the extreme video to Sergeant Brian Montague of the Vancouver Police Department.
Just tell me what you're seeing.
And here's a guy, looks like he's about 30 stories up. There's a risk of him falling. There's a risk of him killing himself. He's committed offenses, he's putting himself in danger, and he's putting others in danger.
Take a look at that final video.
Yeah, so this is a video that I'm familiar with. We did identify these individuals. I don't believe charges were ever made it through the courts.
I mean, he's taking his life in his hands.
And he's potentially taking the life of those who are 40 stories below into his hands as well.
So if they're not scared of death, how can they be scared of something the police might do?
It's a good question.
Is it legal to do?
For the most part, no, it's not. There's a number of criminal code charges that could be associated to stunts like this.
Even with video evidence, charges are rare in Canada in relation to any rooftopping offense.
We know it's happening, but hard for us to do something about it when we don't know where and when it's happening.
What do you think it's going to take to make people pay attention, to make some charges or arrests happen?
Unfortunately, it might take someone's death.
And remember Tad? The worst case scenario is not on his mind. After all, he has scaled some of Vancouver's highest structures, including the Lionsgate Bridge and Trump Tower. The young man is after the thrill, the rush, and the most unique pictures and videos from vantage points that are off limits, illegal, and extremely dangerous.
What do your parents think about it?
Well, my parents were very concerned at first, of course. They didn't want me to fall off and die.
But if you fell and you died,
yeah,
how do you think your parents would take it?
I don't know, they'd definitely be sad, but I don't know, I feel like they'd probably get over it eventually.
Even your parents?
Yeah.
But the parents of Nick Weemy, who fell from the top of a Chicago tower, can't understand Tad's rationale.
You never get over it, and you never, grieving does not end. It just changes. It's a passageway that goes on forever. It gets brighter.
They won't get over it.
But you never get over it.
I just don't know what to say to that young person.
Is a picture worth it?
No way. A picture is worth 1,000 words, but the person taking it is worth so much more.
A somber warning to those living on the edge where any photo could be their last.